The 2019-20 NCAA basketball season is right around the corner as we visit with a familiar face in the college basketball landscape, ESPN's Jay Bilas. And Jay, I know this is your first time in State College. You were able to take in a little bit of Beaver Stadium today, but what's your overall impression so far?
It's been great. You know, I have been to State College before, but it's been the first time in a long time, and I haven't been to a basketball game here. And so I'm looking forward to that at some point in the future. But you know, it's a wonderful area, and Penn State's one of the great schools in the country and has one of the richest traditions in sports. And it's great for me to be, at a basketball practice, to be able to see the Nittany Lions play in this kind of setting, and then to watch Pat Chambers and his staff work. I've known Pat for a long time. I think he's one of the I can't call him one of the finest young coaches anymore, because he's not. Have you seen his hair?
Right.
He is not young anymore. No, but he's an outstanding coach, and I think he's done a fantastic job of building a winning culture here. And maybe a lot of people might look at it more in a short-term fashion, but when you look at the history of Penn State basketball, there's not been a better time frame as far as sustained success over a period of time. And I think they've been 2 years ago winning the NIT when I thought they were an NCAA tournament team, and I like the chances of this particular team. They're very solid up front, and they've got a star in Lamar Stephens, and they've got good guards, so they'll be able to guard people, and I think it's a group that's got a nice togetherness, and they fight, and that's really going to be the difference in being good and really good. Is the collective fight in every game.
You mentioned the fight, the culture, everything that Coach Chambers stands for, and obviously there's so much national attention surrounding this year's program, this year's team. What is it going to take to knock that door down and make the NCAA tournament?
You know, I think it winds up being more about the players, and that is, by that I mean, I think the players are going to have a collective will to bring fight to every game. And I think a lot of times when you see these programs and Penn State is one of them, that are right there, you'll see a program play against, say, in the Big Ten, say they play against Michigan State, and you see an effort level and an enthusiasm and a passion that's just, it's higher. And really the key in the championship level programs is you see that same passion and fight in other games. In games against the bottom half of the league. And that's why you see those teams don't get picked off in those games. And it's bringing that consistently every game. And it's easy to say, and it is really hard to do. I think this team is not only capable of doing that, I think they're doing it. You were here, but so many of last year's games were 1-2 possession games. And not being able to pick those off, and then it winds up after a while, you get the feeling that it's a trend. And the players feel that too, and I think it adds pressure, which is really difficult to overcome. But they were right there. Injuries, suspension, all that stuff that took away from their ability to have continuity throughout the season. But I'm a believer. Not only am I a believer, you got some really good guys on this team. Not only good players, but high character guys. And then you've got, I don't think I can say enough about Pat Chambers. He's got a way of being demanding without being demeaning. He's very disciplined in his approach, but yet he is enthusiastic and encouraging. And that's a hard line for coaches to walk, especially after a year like last year, where you've had so many close calls that didn't go your way. It can be easy to take it out on the players. And that's not what Pat's about. He's the real deal.
So you talked about, obviously, Coach Chambers, some other guys, Mike Watkins, and you have a guy like Lamar Stephens, who is arguably one of the top players in the country. When you look at his game, what kind of stands out about him?
Well, he's a star, and he's a player. He averaged, almost 20 points a game last year, and was consistent with his productivity from game to game. So you knew what you're going to get, which you can't say about most players. I think the one thing, he's so good that he commands a double team. Like, you got to send a second defender at him, or he's going to score, get fouled, or both. I think one of the issues for Lamar is going to be, I think he can be a much better passer and take advantage of those doubles. But I think these guys have a very good understanding of we over me, and that's a big deal for any team. Basketball is a team game. You have to have a lot of good me's. So it's we over me, but not exclusive of me. Because if you don't have a lot of good me's, you can be we all you want to, and it's not going to work. But I think these guys have a pretty good understanding. So you may have Lamar Stephens as the star, but what's great about him is I don't think he stands out from his teammates. I guess what you can say, the totem pole here, it's sideways. It's horizontal, which is a nice way to play.
How about when you look at the conference as a whole? So the Big Ten, obviously, there's a lot of strong teams that can make a run at that NCAA tournament. But when you look at the Big Ten versus some of the other Power 5 conferences, and maybe not even the Power 5, where do you rank the parity right now?
The Big Ten is going to be great again. I think you've got in this league, got the #1 team to start out the season. I think Michigan State, in most polls, if not all of them, will be ranked #1 as a Final Four team that returns a lot of players. Doesn't return everybody, but returns a lot of guys. And last year they were so efficient offensively. They've got arguably the best point guard in America, in Cassius Winston, and they've got a great coach and Tom Izzo, and a winning championship culture. So they're going to be #1 out of the gate. Doesn't mean they're going to stay there. If we've learned anything about this league, it's punishing, and winning in this league is hard. It's hard. It's hard if you're in the bottom half of the league. It's hard if you're in the middle, and it's hard if you're at the top. It's just hard and difficult. So I think there's a lot of new blood. There are other leagues in the country. The ACC is one that doesn't return a lot of talent from last year. 13 of the 15 all-conference players in the ACC last year are gone. So they've only got 2 back, and they're third team all-ACC players. So there's going to be a lot of new in that league. There's going to be some new in the Big Ten, but a lot more returning than in some other leagues, and that's a huge advantage. Talent is really important. I mean, it's the most important thing. But when you have talent and experience, that's that added edge that in any sport, especially in basketball, is a separator.
Jay, appreciate your time, and
That's
enjoy the rest of your time at
Thank
State
you.
Colleges.
Thanks for having
Once
me.
again, Penn State will open up the season November 5th.